So I've grown up in church my entire life, and you really start to lose the magic of the words. You hear the pastor up on the platform in the mornings and you hear the same words over and over, and sometimes you don't really hear the words, your heart doesn't hear the words. And my senior year of high school, I was interning for Ben and Jessica and challenged almost every single day with one task or another, but the hardest thing I had to do the entire time was write a paper on my understanding of soteriology. And that sounds fancy, and it's really just a word for salvation. But at the time, I felt super ill-equipped to write about my understanding of that. And so I was going through Wayne Grudem's systematic theology book, and he's broken it into sections that make it a little bit more easy to understand. And the first section is election, and I couldn't get past it. It broke my heart. It made me so upset that this loving God that we sing songs about from the time we're born would be so cruel and would be so unjust and unfair as what I viewed that as. And my pride was just really overtaking everything. It was just overshadowing everything. And I was reading St. Augustine, and because this was a research paper, so I was having to find sources, and he has this quote that just totally killed my pride in that moment. And he wrote, "A merciful God delivers so many to the praise of the glory of his grace from deserved perdition. If he should deliver no one therefrom, he would not be unrighteous. Let him who is delivered love his grace, and let him who is not delivered acknowledge his due. In remitting a debt, goodness is perceived, and in requiting it, justice. Unrighteousness is never found with God." In viewing him as unrighteous, I was taking glory from the Lord, and I was making myself bigger than I am, and I was belittling God. And in that moment, reversing those roles, finally putting God back in the huge view that he should be in, and making myself smaller and being humbled, I was really overwhelmed by grace, and that, he chose to deliver me, and I should love my grace and not be so concerned with other people not receiving that same grace, because God is just no matter what. He doesn't operate inside of our moral compass, and our sense of justice is so flawed, and he just surpasses it all. And for me to view him as unrighteous was so sinful of me, yet he still loved me and still pursued me even through that, even through wrestling through that. And when I finally grasped that truth, that he loved me that much to choose me before the foundation of the world, and then still to love me through me being totally sinful and just the worst, I finally really understood mercy for the first time. I know I had received mercy, but knowing that you have mercy and feeling mercy are two totally different things. And that mercy and that grace and that just total unfathomable love is what changed my life forever. Because you can't come face to face with God and experience that transaction and that amazing, just overwhelming power and not be changed by it. And that is what pushes me to go into the unreached corners of the world, because those people need to feel that same overwhelming love and grace and mercy that I felt that day in Jessica's office. That love is what pushes us into surrender.